Hey, welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's doing great. And just want to share a little bit of some thoughts I've had lately, um, especially about work ethics. And I don't know, or should I say the lack of work ethics. And first, I want to define what work ethics are. And that's based off of Webster Dictionary. And the ethics is a belief in work as a moral goal, a set of values centered on the importance of doing work and reflected especially in a desire or determination to work hard. That is what work ethics is. And I see a lot of lazy people these days. And my mind automatically goes to the Gen Zs or the millennials. It just seems like they were just not raised to do to have good work ethics. And a lot of the older ones, like the baby boomers, Gen X, the older generations, they were taught a whole different. And I can't help but wonder if it's not because of the electronic age that we live in, where everything is now electronic, and when you actually have to go out and do something physically and then come back versus having it done electronically. I think that throws a little play in there, but I think a lot of it has to come back down to the parents on how they're being raised. But there are some really lazy people, and lazy people, they just don't care. They don't care about doing anything. They just show up. They're late to work, and they do enough, I guess, just to get by. There's no, it's just a job. It's just you go there and you do your thing and then you leave. But there's a lot of hardworking people that, and those that have good work ethics, they take pride in their job and what they do. They go the extra mile. I mean, and these are people who have a job and they want to do it the best that they can. They don't want to just go there. I'm here to do it, and that's it. And I ran into this example here this last weekend. I was out at Chick-fil-A with my wife and one of my daughters, and I'm sitting there at one of the tables. My wife and daughter, they went up to get the order, and I'm watching this young lady, and I'm guessing she's maybe early 20s ish, 22 to 25 ish, right in that range. And I'm watching her, and she's out there sweeping the floor. It wasn't real busy, so she's sweeping the floor. She comes up and she sweeps a little bit, and then she steps back. She looks at it this way and that way and walks around a little bit because she kept seeing something. And then she went ahead and swept again, and it wouldn't come up. So she actually got down and scraped it up. And um, just watching her pay attention to what she was doing and taking pride in I mean, she had a smile on her face. She was happy to do what she was doing. She had what I call good work ethics. And so actually what I did is, I actually called her over to the table, and I actually gave her a $10 tip for doing a good job because I was quite impressed. I have not seen that type of work ethic in such a young person in a long time, in 20, 30 years. And I was really, really impressed. So what does a strong work ethic look like? Well, it's people that show up early to work and they stay late. I've always taught my kids when they were growing up that if you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. If you show up right on time, you're already late. And so you need to be there early. I'm not saying you have to punch in and start work right away, but show them that you're willing to work. When I first started working, I made sure that I was there ready to work. If I started at 8 o'clock, I started working at 8 o'clock. And I did not quit at, 4:49. I quit at 5 o'clock or whenever the time was. You don't show up late and then you leave early. And I mean, that's just not a good work ethics. And you should always do more than what you're uh, asked to do. One of my pet peeves is when I work with people and they have specific tasks, and a boss would come up and say, "Would you mind taking out the trash?" And their immediate response is, That's not in my job description. And they don't want to go the extra, they don't want, you know, in my opinion, your job description is whatever the boss tells you it is. That's it. If he wants you to scrub toilets, then that's what your job description is. Because you work for them, they don't work for you. And people just don't take that to heart anymore. They just think that I'm only hired to do this specific job and I ain't going to do any more. And that really bothers me. Uh, and you should never be doing nothing. You know, if you have things going on, you run out of work. Say, for example, if you're at a loading dock in a warehouse and you got your stuff all put away, loaded on the truck, whatever, grab a broom, sweep up, do something. Show people that you're willing to work. And if you want to get ahead in life, that's what you got to do. You got to stop being late. You got to go the extra mile and don't sit there and waste time. And one thing that I think about is, you know, I get on to people that bring cell phones into the office. And my thought is, if you're going to work for me, I'm not going to have you on your phone. And here's the example I usually give people. If you hire me to mow your grass and you're paying me, say, $5 an hour, and every time you come out to look to see how I'm doing, you see me sitting there and I'm on my cell phone and I'm not mowing the grass, and it ends up taking me 10 hours that should have only taken me 45 minutes, I'm not going to bring you back. I'm not going to hire you again. And that's the same concept is, you know, we're paying you for a certain amount of time and work. You don't, that's not your own personal time. You're not supposed to be on the phone playing Candy Crush, texting everyone, doing all this other stuff. You're there to work. You're there to get a paycheck. And for some reason, these kids, the younger generations, they just don't understand that concept. If they don't have their cell phone in their hand, I don't think they could survive. I don't even think they can get up and go to the bathroom without taking their cell phone with them. But don't complain about your work either, especially with someone else you work with. If you complain about your work to someone else, that just brings a bunch of problems in there. If you want to complain about it, go home, talk to your spouse or talk to someone else who doesn't work there, something, but don't complain at work about your work to someone else, because that's just going to come back and nip you in the bud, as Barney Fife would say. It's going to nip you in the bud in the long run. And what kind of reflection does that show people? I was interviewing a guy one time, and he actually said something that really, really impressed me. And what he said was, he had asked me the question. He says, what's one thing that you take with you every single where you go, every single job you're at? And the answer is your name. Your name goes with you everywhere you go. Your name is attached to you. So when you pick up a new job, you sign your name. You have your name. Well, your work ethic is attached to your name. So if you're not a good worker and you go apply for a job, oh, this is Bill Smith, and they check on you, they're going to say, oh, yeah, Bill Smith. I mean, he's a lazy person. He doesn't show up for work. He's always late. But if they have a good reputation, a good work ethic, they're going to give him all kinds of praises about what a great job he's doing and how wonderful he is. He shows up early, he leaves late, he goes the extra mile. He does things without even being told. He sees something that needs to be done, he goes ahead and does it. And the way I see it is, you need to work like if you're working for God. You know, if you act like you don't care, I mean, is that the way you want to work for God? Or do you want to show up late and leave early for God? Um, do you do enough just to get by? If you work like if you're working for God, that changes your whole mindset. You know, you go the extra mile. And that also makes me think, if you're doing that, if you're working like someone who's lazy, who doesn't show up, doesn't go the extra mile, what does that say about your spiritual life? What does it say about you? Are you doing enough just to get by? Or are you willing to go the extra mile to be a servant to others? Are you willing to go out and help the orphans and the widows? Are you willing to help your neighbor, go the extra mile? Are you willing to share the gospel with other people? So you need to work as if you're working to God. And I think the best way we can sum all this up is in the scriptures. 1 Corinthians 10:31, it says, therefore, whether you eat or drink, whatever you do, do all things for the glory of God. And that doesn't mean just work. That means everything. Whatever you do, do it for the glory of God. Go to work and work as if you're trying to please God and honor Him. And I guarantee you, your whole mindset's going to change and you're going to come in and do the best you can. And that's going to develop a good work ethic. And that's going to develop people talking about you in a positive way, that they want you because you're reliable. They want you because you honor other people. They want you because you stay late, you come in early, and you do things you're not supposed to, or you're not really hired to do. They're going to look at that and they're going to see a difference. And that's what we're here for. We're here to make a difference in people's lives. So I encourage you just to take that to heart and just remember, whatever you do, do it for the glory of God in work, play, or whatever. God bless.